Are you an entrepreneur or a business owner and you are just feel like you're constantly busy and you don't have time to think about the long-term strategy for your company? Well, I have the solution for you, and I will just say 3 words and then you should stick around to learn why you should do this, but you should do a solo retreat day. Solo retreat day. I'm going to break it down more, I promise, about exactly why that was so important and such a game changer for me as a business owner, but right after this. Before we get into it, I'm Logan Clements, a freelance event producer based out of Seattle, Washington, and I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I do videos about virtual event production, Zoom, in-person event production, hybrid events, as well as running your own business. And if you like more free content, I'm the co-host of the Better Events podcast with fellow event pro Mary Davidson, where we talk about more event-related things and small business-related things, like everything from your small business finances to how you should do your live stream to what's a run a show. But without further ado, let's talk more about what I mean when I say solo retreat day. All right, so maybe your ears perked up at the start of this when I said solo retreat day and you're thinking, Logan, a spa day would be great. Something else that is a currency to a business owner is your time. Your time is money. And one of the things we can't get back as business owners is time. I often joke I wish I could clone myself, but this was something that I did for my podcast with my co-host Mary. We carved out a day, called it a podcast retreat day, and we sat down and actually did all of these things that we've been talking about doing. We got time to strategize, and we just gave ourselves time. And I walked away from that exercise going, why had I not done that in my business? Now, why is it so important? Because you're carving out time to think deeper about strategy, about what you want as a business owner, or maybe what your customers want if you're trying to listen to them and figure out how to grow your business. But the key is you need to carve out your day. So the way I did this is I blocked my entire day off, did not take any meetings, told people I was essentially out of the office, but you need to block the time off so that you can have those deeper strategy thoughts. Now that you've blocked the time, one of the things I did was figure out where feels best for you to do these deeper thoughts. Are you someone who works really well from home? Are you someone who wants to do it in an exotic location? When my co-host and I did it, for the podcast, we just did it in a co-working space, and it was fun because it was a different place for me to work. When I did this for my business, I actually did it when I was home at the holidays in Philadelphia. But instead of doing it at my family's house, I actually rented a hotel room in downtown Philadelphia for the night and went with all my office supplies with the goal of just having me time to think about my business. And one of the things that was helpful as I led up to this retreat day was I started to take a note on my phone or wherever you take notes of just kind of like big strategy things, like what I wish I had time for. And this could be everything from like, what did I like from the past year? What didn't I like? What do I want more of? Do I like how I spent my time? That was huge for me. And I'm a solo entrepreneur. I can imagine this if you were someone who's a boss of employees. Like, do you like how you spent your time? Did you enjoy it? Because again, for me, this was such a good exercise of realizing that I spent so much time doing the work and not really thinking about the work, if that makes sense. I was doing my business versus spending time on my business. Another thing would be look back at your financials. What projects you worked on, what clients, what product do you own that was really financially viable? How about some of the projects or products or things in your business that weren't financially viable? You might surprise yourself there. That was one of the exercises I also enjoyed because there were things that I said, this project's never profitable. When I finally sat down and looked at the financials, I go, actually, some of these smaller events are actually quite profitable because I've gotten more efficient at them. Another fun exercise for that solo retreat day would be plan out your ideal year. For me, that looked like mapping out my events for the coming year. And this was looking back at people I'd worked with the previous year who did annual events and kind of starting to map out loosely when I think those would be, or if it was going after target big clients that I'd never worked with, or just clients I'm excited about that I wanted to work with and figuring out where their events fell in my calendar. And then my favorite part of this, and that's why I did a hotel room in Philadelphia, was you can spend a ton of time doing strategy. I think I sat there for a couple hours. I bought big Post-it notes. I was putting them on the wall. I felt like I was in my own little startup. It was really fun and had fun music playing. And then I realized I need time to digest that plan. And that happened accidentally. I took like a really long shower that night, just kind of relaxed. And then the next day I got up early and went on a walk and got coffee. And it was just really interesting to see how giving myself that space and that time for these thoughts to breathe, I started coming up with more ideas and jotting them on my phone or a napkin or a piece of paper because I gave myself time to think about, okay, how do I feel about this plan that I just made? So if you're doing a retreat day, again, you can do it all in one day. I recommend a night, but whatever it is, give yourself time. Go on a walk. Just give yourself time to digest this big plan that you've come up with. If you watch my videos, you know that I love a good bonus tip. And so this is something that I did kind of did it in November of last year, mainly because that was when things started to slow down. Plan to do this retreat a month or 2 months before you think you need this strategy. Similar to my last point about taking a break and having time to breathe and just digest your plan, it was really productive for me to do it in November because it gave me all of December to really think through, okay, I really feel really strongly about this thing I came out with, this strategy, this client, this plan I'm going ahead with. And it took away some of that pressure of feeling like I had to come away from this one-day retreat with the exact plan that I was going to implement. And something you can do with this retreat idea is, honestly, if you work full-time for somebody, you should do this too, because if you have an annual review coming up, say it's in June, you want to make sure you do this in April and just sit down and like map out your metrics, map out the time that you can do. And for me, the game changer of it all was honestly just changing the location and blocking my time. And it sounds hard, but I promise you, if you can look ahead at your schedule, find a time to do this. I know this is a business practice that I just started doing last year, but is going to be a staple as I continue to grow and learn as a business owner, that I honestly already have scheduled one for June, and I'm ready to kind of keep it going every 6 months or so to have this time to check in with myself. Because so many times as business owners, I feel like we come second and sometimes our business comes first. And there's, times where that's great, but I want to make sure that you're taking that time to check in with yourself, make sure you're happy. What are you enjoying as the business owner? What's working for the business? What's not working for the business? And look at those two lists and see where things overlap. Where are those things that you don't enjoy doing that really aren't helping your business? Where are those things overlapping that you do enjoy and they're profitable for your business? And where there are those things that are maybe a mix of both and you should look into outsourcing or hiring someone on your team to do those things that you don't enjoy. I can't stress enough how much of a game changer this was. So I hope you have fun trying to apply this to your business or to your job. And please let me know in the comments below if you have any questions on this or if you have your own retreat idea, because I'm constantly looking for new ideas. And this is something that has just brought me so much joy in my life from getting to sit down and do it. I still have those Post-its from that hotel room because they're helping me as I kind of say yes to projects moving forward. Well, that's all I have for you folks. I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and this has been another installment of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event planning and running your own business. You can follow me across social media channels at LoganStrategyGroup_events or visit my website at LoganStrategyGroup.com to find out more about what I do when I'm not making videos for you guys. And I will see you again next week. Bye.